Hey everybody, just doing a little relaxing here for a minute, taking a break and chilling in the backyard underneath my deck. Got my BPS knives bushcrafter here. Beautiful, beautiful leather sheath. It's got a nice walnut handle, bush lore kind of pattern, mirror polish blade, Scandinavian grind, I think 1066 high carbon steel. Definitely meant for bushcrafting. Got a little Fatwood here. It's Fatwood Friday, right? So, this knife has a true 90-degree spine. So I am doing a lot of scraping this Fatwood here. Let me move this camera down here a little so you can see the action. This knife is performing pretty good. Getting nice cuts with the Scandinavian grind. I mean, this is what this type of knife is made for. There we go, all. Happy Fatwood Friday. This fire is dedicated to members of the United States Armed Forces. Especially the gentleman we're going to talk about, Billy Waugh. All right, we got that little fire there burning a little bit from BPS Bushcraft Knife, carving some fat wood there. Mentioned this fire goes out to the armed services, especially Billy Waugh. You may recognize that name from a bunch of videos, Instagram, Facebook posts done by Choirboyz Cutlery. There is a new knife that bears Billy's signature on it. And I recognized Billy's name from somewhere when Scab over at Choirboyz Cutlery did the videos on the knife, and I couldn't quite pinpoint it. But it was from this book that I read earlier this year. If you're familiar with SOG, not the knife company, but MACV SOG, military special forces unit from the Vietnam War, they worked a lot behind enemy lines, going into Cambodian stuff, trying to stop the North Vietnamese on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. So they were scooting around the west side there and trying to sneak around and do nasty shit. So let's see. I just looked up Billy's name in the index of this book, so we're just going to try to find some stories here about Billy from the Vietnam days. Okay, we're behind enemy lines here. Oh, actually, let's start about this. I mentioned SOG, the knife company. So SOG, Studies and Observation Group, SOG Knife Company, was founded in 1986 by a guy named Spencer Frazier, who founded the company to produce one knife at the time, a reproduction of a knife that was made especially for this unit in Vietnam, Special Forces unit. It says in this book, for the first time since World War II's first Special Service Force was issued the V-42 Stiletto, made by Case Knives. An elite U.S. unit would have its own custom knife, an untraceable 6-inch bladed weapon designed on Okinawa by Ben Baker. Each was issued this unmarked SOG knife, so that bad guys couldn't trace these guys back to the United States if they were captured. Let's see. If captured, Petrie's men were to recite a flimsy cover story that they stumbled into Laos while looking for a missing C-123 and had no idea they'd crossed the border. To support this fiction that they crossed the border, American troops were not allowed to cross the border into Laos or Cambodia. They had to stay in Vietnam. But SOG went over there very secretly. That's why they had those unmarked knives. Let's see. So, phony story. To support this fiction, SOG published special maps that shifted the border 10 kilometers west, something the worldly wise Green Berets found ridiculous. This will buy us about 10 seconds, said Master Sergeant Billy Waugh, because the other guys will be laughing too hard to shoot us. Describing the SOG team, up to now the North Vietnamese had been dealing with fleeting shadows that ambushed them, planted mines, and called airstrikes on their encampments. Now they learned who these will-o'-the-wisps were, Sames and Law's bodies yielded maps, codes, radios, CAR-15s, everything. At last, the NVA had something concrete to study and plan countermeasures against, meaning the bad guys had found a couple of bodies from the SOG troops. 2 days later, SOG inserted a body recovery team led by Master Sergeant Billy Waugh and Major Errol Kilburn. They found Sane's body exactly where Wallen told them they would. The NVA had left it crudely booby-trapped with a hand grenade, which Waugh deactivated. Then, slid the young 1-2's remains into a body bag. Delmer Law's body was not found. So, Billy, man, that sounds like a rough job right there. Wouldn't wish that on my enemy, recovering booby-trapped bodies. No way, man. Alright, I think we got a little story here. So there was a flying team here, that was well known within the unit. Like, they would fly in to rescue some guys who were trapped behind enemy lines. One of them was a Vietnamese fellow. They called him Cowboy. So let's just read this page here. At Khe Sanh, the surviving half of the well-known flying dynamic duo Cowboy climbed into his H-34 helicopter as soon as he got word about Brown, and 3 SOG men jumped aboard after him. Brown must be down behind enemy lines. Master Sergeant Charles Skip Minix, the perennial recon man, Billy Waugh, and Captain Oliver Bryn. Though they had no gunships or fighter support, Cowboy slowly trolled his King Bee over the treetops until, peering into the brush below, they spotted Brown and several Nungs. Cowboy tried to squeeze into an LZ so tiny his rotors chewed into overhanging branches. Then slugs started thumping into the old King Bee, and finally Cowboy had to abort the landing. At Khe Sanh, they refueled and examined the King Bee, which sported several bullet holes but was flyable. No rational pilot should have taken an already shot-up helicopter back out there, especially with no fire support, heavy ground fire, a tiny LZ, and no other aircraft to retrieve him if he went in. So Cowboy ordered his co-pilot and door gunner to stay at Khe Sanh and brought along only the insistent Skip Minix. At the LZ, Cowboy again descended into the narrow hole and hovered, while Minix leaped off. An AK bullet passed completely through Cowboy's neck, but somehow he flew the King Bee with one hand and slowed the bleeding with the other, while Minix dragged the wounded Brown aboard, and off they went. Billy Waugh still shakes his head at that display, and though Minix too showed real valor, Cowboy's bravery astounded him. "I thought he should get the Medal of Honor," Waugh said. So, think Billy's bad, man. Look at these guys that he served with. The raid began with a Dawn Arc Light by 9 B-52s. Flying Covey, Master Sergeant Billy Waugh watched nearly 1,500 and 750-pound bombs walk across Oscar 8, setting off 50 secondary explosions. Incredibly, the bombs had barely stopped falling when he could see NVA running from their shelters to roll fuel barrels away from a fire. Waugh radioed SOG Lieutenant Colonel Harold Rose at Khe Sanh. "I've got people out here scurrying around. That son of a bitch is loaded." As the smoke cleared, 9 King Bees and 5 USMC CH-46 Sea Knights landed a Nung Hatchet Force company. The arc light temporarily silenced the flak, but hardly had Raider Company arrived when NVA soldiers were everywhere, surrounding the 100 SOG men who had taken over in a few bomb craters. They began calling in gunships and attack air danger close. Let's skip ahead a little bit, see what else they say about Billy on this page. On the LZ, 3 Green Beret NCOs Charles Wicklaw, Ron Dexter, Billy Ray Lanny readied the next chopper load of Nungs, and when the 2nd Marine CH-46 came in, they and 24 mercenaries leaped aboard and returned the heavy ground fire as they lifted away. Riding the Covey overhead, Billy Waugh wished that Marine chopper into the air, but streaming tracers stayed right on it. So they're in a heck of a tight spot there, as this SOG unit usually was. From what I read in this book, they had a 100% casualty rate, meaning everybody who served in this unit suffered some type of wound or was was killed or was captured during the Vietnam War. 100% casualty rate. They also had a 100-to-1 kill ratio, which means they took out 100 bad guys for every one of them that was killed. Let's see, some trouble. At SOG headquarters, Billy Waugh said people thought Halo was crazy as hell because they didn't go on the ground themselves and didn't realize that if you could get in quietly without notification to the bad guys, that you could have something. A solid Halo supporter, Waugh asked to be inserted by school bus or submarine. But don't make me go by helicopter into the damn I shall. Let's change it. Change it. This man wants to get inserted by land or sea, and not helicopters. I guess they're getting shot a lot by this point in the war. I guess, you know what? You want to read more stories about this unit and Billy Waugh? Get up this book. SOG. What's it called? The Vietnam War Secret Commandos by John Plaster. The Secret Wars of America's Commandos in Vietnam by John Plaster. He was a team leader, an officer, I think, within SOG. He has passed away since Billy Waugh is still living, because he just worked with a couple of guys like Bill Harsey and someone else to create that knife that Scab has been showing us over at the Choirboyz Cutlery channel. So Billy Waugh, Scab mentioned this in his videos as well, but he tried to join the Marines in 1945 at the age of 15, which was too young. He wanted to get on the action at the end of World War II. Couldn't do it, but he did serve in Korea and went on to be in Special Forces, Army Rangers throughout the 50s, and Vietnam he was involved in a conflict earlier on in the war in 1965. I believe, I'm not sure if he was in SOG yet. That would have been the very beginnings of this unit, or if he was just with the regular Army Rangers, but he got involved in a really bad firefight and was shot 8 times and spent the next couple of years recovering from those wounds at Walter Reed Hospital in the DC area. I don't think it's in DC proper, I think it's in Maryland. But he was shot 8 times and then went back to war over in Vietnam. After Vietnam, he eventually got involved with the CIA, doing some stuff that a lot of people still don't know about because they're the CIA and they're secretive spooks. But we do know that he was involved in hunting down a criminal known as the Jackal, and he wrote a book about it called Hunting the Jackal. I've not read it. I have ordered it and want to read it. And I think you should read it too. So I'm going to give you a copy of that book. All you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, comment below, any comment at all, and I'll let this video run for a week. And we'll announce a winner next week. Next Friday, the 15th? Yeah, 15th. My 5th wedding anniversary. So yeah, we'll give you a copy of Billy Waugh's book so that you can learn more about him. It's called Hunting the Jackal. From what I intend, it doesn't have anything to do with the movie with Bruce Willis. And is Richard Gere in that one too? I think so. Totally different story, different jackal. But definitely Billy Waugh as a CIA paramilitary secret ops mission. I guess it was in the early 90s it took place, so he would have been in his mid 50s, maybe his 60s at that point. He's 91 years old now. But 20 years ago, at age 71, Billy was inserted into Afghanistan. 71 years old. CIA paramilitary operatives inserted into Afghanistan in the early days of the war on terror after 9/11. So that's Billy Waugh. Pick up this book. I'm going to give you a copy of Billy Waugh's book. Comment on this video. And that's that. Next Friday, 15th, we'll announce a winner. Guys, I internationally love you, but shipping stuff, customs, I don't want to get involved with it. The winner, please be in the United States. Same on my 500 sub giveaway. The winner needs to be in the United States. I did comment that in the description, but love all my international subscribers and buddies. Angry Dracolope, if you watch this, I know you're getting to the US eventually, so if you win this or anything else, I will hold it for you. Everybody else, I'm sorry, but continental US only. So anyways, hope you enjoyed first that little fire, then the story time. I hope you enter into the giveaway. Have a great Friday.